Greetings, beautiful people. This is SB Favor Thinking Podcast, and my name is SB Favor. How are you doing today? It is Sunday, November 1st, 2020. Another wonderful day, another day to be thankful, and yes, another day to focus on what is good so that you can project something good to happen if you focus on what is good. So, focus on what is good. Well, I do not have a quote for you today, but I also want to remind you to vote. Tuesday, November 3rd is the final day to vote. And if you have not already voted, please go out there and vote. This week is going to be interesting. We all have to make sure we vote. It is important. Tell your friends, tell your neighbors, tell your nieces, nephews, aunts, uncles. Go out there and vote. We all have to participate in the process for our country to change. So please vote. We got to pray this week because this week is going to be interesting. We don't know what's going to happen, but like I said, we all have to vote. But I want to talk about pros and cons of projection. Negative projection versus positive projection. And as I stated just a minute ago, positive projection is projection that is just simply positive. You speak life, you speak encouraging things, you speak faith, you speak the things that you want to see happen. You speak in good things. That's a positive projection. You foresee good things happening. That's a positive projection. A negative projection is the toxic one. Projection that destroys relationships. A projection that is not healthy at all. That type of projection, negative projection, refers to unconsciously taking unwanted emotions or traits you don't like about yourself and attributing them to someone else. A common example of a negative projection is a cheating spouse that tells their partner they're unfaithful when the person that's projecting is the one that is unfaithful. That's a negative projection. It's really sad. A negative projection can destroy any relationship. A negative projection can occur when a person is feeling unwanted or is triggered, and sadly, they will discharge those feelings onto someone else. So we got to be careful with that. We got to be careful with our own moods and our own attitudes. If we're not functioning at our highest self, it's not right or fair to project that onto someone else. People have unresolved pains and hurts from their past, their childhood. And unfortunately, if a person is not working on themselves, then sadly, they can project those things to others. So we got to be careful with that. I remember one time someone walked up to me and they said, "Oh, you got an attitude, or you're upset about something." And I said to the individual, I said, "No, I'm not upset about anything. I'm not offended by anything or upset about anything." So they kept trying to convince me that I was upset about something. They kept trying to convince me I was upset about something, and I wasn't. So I thought to myself, what's wrong with this individual? Well, I realized that they were trying to project something toward me that was going on with them. They were not having a bad day. They were upset about something. They were in a certain type of mood. So they kept trying to project that to me. And I was perfectly fine. There was nothing going on with me at that moment. I didn't have a reason to be offended or upset about anything. And how can you walk up to somebody and just say, "Oh, you upset about something? You angry about something?" That doesn't make any sense. So that person was projecting something negative toward me. And I just recognized it for what it was. And of course, I stayed quiet. But later, when I thought about it, I prayed. I prayed for that person. But I'm glad that at that moment, I questioned myself, because what if I would have believed what that person was saying? Then in that moment, I would have became upset, or maybe just started thinking about something that could have upset me, which is really crazy, because guess what? People do that every single day. Sometimes you could be having a really, really good day, and then all of a sudden the phone rings and somebody on that phone call starts to project something negative toward you. And before you answered that phone, you was having a good day. But because that person that called you was projecting something negative, now all of a sudden you're having a challenging day. Now all of a sudden your mindset and your attitude has went from sunshine to the clouds. Well, guess what? It's because that person that you talked to was projecting something negative. You know, we all have a choice when it comes to our own attitude. We have a choice. No matter what is going on, we have a choice to be up or down. And yes, sometimes there are different things going on and we're not always walking in the sunshine because sometimes life happens. But even when life happens, we get to choose how we're going to respond. What will our attitude be in that moment? And we get to choose how to deal with whatever it is we're going through. Now, of course, I'm not saying, walk around and be fake and just play happy all the time. I'm not saying that. But what I am saying is that when things go wrong, the first thing we should do is pray. Because when you pray, God, He lifts the burden. Now, if you're one of those people, you don't pray when things happen, well, you're already in a bad place. And I'm just keeping it real by saying that. Because when you pray, God will lift the burden and He will change situations and circumstances for us and with us. He will. But I'm saying all this to say that if you are having a challenging day, if your thoughts and your attitude is not in the right place, it's not fair to pour that onto someone else. And that is what a negative projection is. We must be very careful to speak life and not the things that are negative. If for some reason or another you wake up in the morning and you just start out your day and you're having a challenging day, it's good to pause for a second, pray for a minute, and guess what? Talk about it. Talk about it. Talk about how you feel. Don't hold it in. That's another way that people that's another way people project the negative, is because they keep things inside so much. They keep certain feelings inside so much that the first thing that come out of their mouth is something negative. So talk about how you feel. Talk about what you're going through. If you don't have anybody to talk to about what you're going through, or if you don't trust anybody to talk to, then talk to God. That should be the first person you talk to first anyway. But for the sake of human reaction, make sure that you talk about how you feel. But that negative projection, that's something that we have to really be careful with, because I think that we all are guilty of doing that. And if you are consciously working on yourself daily and you are paying attention to what you speak out of your mouth, then there's no reason for you to project something negative to someone else. Take full responsibility and accountability for what you say and how you say things to others. It's very important. Well, Tuesday, me and Rebecca will continue to talk about this topic because I believe that we can do better. Relationships don't have to be filled with chaos and problems. We can keep the peace and harmony in our relationships. We can enjoy one another and make good memories with each other. We don't have to always be in a place of discord and strife. We can do better. So that is why I am talking about this topic. Project something positive. If there's something that you are dealing with as an individual, resolve it. Resolve it with God. Work on yourself, but don't project it to others. Examine yourself. Check yourself daily throughout the day. Make sure, journal. Journal what's going on with your attitude so that you can examine yourself. If you find yourself struggling with certain things emotionally or mentally or spiritually, make sure that you pray. And like I said, talk to somebody about it. Because if you do that, then you can speak more life out of your mouth and you can project more positive things to others is the right thing to do if we want to live a quality-filled life. So, tune in to my next podcast because I will be talking about this topic again. And I thank you for tuning in to listen to SB Favorite Thinking Podcast. If you need to reach me, you can reach me at sbfavor@yahoo.com via email. You can also find me on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram at sbfavor. I also have a YouTube channel at sbfavor. Please click like, subscribe, and leave me some feedback. If you leave me something negative, I'm going to ignore you because that is my rule. I like to keep everything positive and happy. Please share the podcast with others. I appreciate you. Thank you for listening to SB Favorite Thinking Podcast. You have a good day.